Okay, guys, so in this session, we're going to talk about creating a sales process for your home health, your home care, your hospice company. Every great salesperson, every great company has an amazing sales process. And so, what I want to be able to do is, before anything starts, I want you to be able to think about you're baking a cake, right? And you're baking this cake, and you never really follow a recipe, right? You just throw things together, you kind of just ad hoc through things. And then the cake comes out a certain way, and then all of a sudden everybody loves your cake. A week later, you do the same thing, you create the same cake, but it just doesn't taste the same. So in the other week you do it again, and then again it doesn't taste the same. There's no consistency in this cake making process. The reason is this: you don't have any recipe. Every time that you do it, you add something more or take away something normally, right? And because you're doing that adding, taking away, you're never going to be consistent on your cake's outcome. So what we want to do is we want to be consistent in selling your agency, your products, your services. We need to be consistent. If we don't have a recipe, also known as a sales or marketing process, we're not going to be consistent with selling our products. And just like the cake analogy, you're going to get frustrated. You're going to get frustrated because you're going to think, like, I got a referral before. Why am I not getting more referrals now? I have 30 patients now. I have a 30 census now. Why can't I get another 30? Look, here's the thing. If you don't know why you're successful, the reason for that is because you keep changing your process. You need to have consistency. So what I want to be able to do with you guys is to be able to help you guys develop a sales process. So now here is a suggested sales process that you want to be able to kind of work around and customize it for you. Now, this sales process has 7 steps. This is what we call the research phase. This is where we research our customers, list out our features, our benefits, our advantages. You talk about, thinking about who are you going to be selling to. You're going to look at your TAMs, your target profile, right? This happens before we meet the customer, the potential referral sources. The next step is to be able to actually meet with them. Now, when these potential referral sources starts asking a lot of questions, guess what? We're going to discuss that in future modules, okay? So you need to be able to understand that this is the part. Now the next thing that we need to do is pretty much once we have all these, once we get a good understanding of what the customer needs, because that's what ends up happening in this process, is that when we meet with these customers, we're going to be able to make sure that we ask the right questions. And we're going to go furthermore into how and what to ask these people, these potential referral sources, in another module. So we always want to just keep on going on with it, okay? So what we move on to do after that is we move on to the presentation phase. So this is those one-on-one presentations across the table. Maybe it's a formal presentation where you're doing a PowerPoint with multiple people in front of you, a group, or maybe you're offering something in regards to do a presentation via video, via FaceTime, you're doing it by email, right? The presentation actually needs to be tailored to how the meeting goes, right? The next thing is to be able to do a demo, right? So you want to be able to show how your company can actually produce the things that you are promising for their patients. Once you've created the demo, the next thing is to be able to present the different options as a company. So let's say, for example, your products and your services, what can you offer them? And then the next thing as well is, what is your pricing phase, right? The pricing phase is when you start saying, hey, this is what the price of our services cost. Or if you're in home health, then this is, the type of payment companies that we use, right? We accept Medicare, Blue Cross Blue Shield, we accept Aetna, so forth, so forth. And then after that, after the price phase, you start working into what we call the close, and you start getting the referrals. So first things first, let's go look at the basic sales process. We need to understand the first step is to always to research, right? The next thing is to be able to meet them. Once we're able to meet them, we need to be able to ask the questions correctly. we need to be able to then present ourselves. After we present ourselves, right? Once we present ourselves, then we need to be able to create a demo. Once we're able to create that demo, okay, if we can show them and have those demos, we also need to do what next? Once we have the demo, okay, we need to be able to start talking about the pricing. And once we have the pricing, we then need to move on to the next thing is to be able to close. And then the last phase is to be able to make sure that we are able to follow up with them, okay? Because the follow-up is probably one of the most important parts of your sales process. And the reason why it's an important sales process, because not always will you actually get that referral, that close, that sale on the very first time you do that presentation. And so knowing that if you can create the sales process, if you actually have a sales process, and as time goes, you start saying, hey, why am I not really getting a good result in getting the meeting? Well, maybe you're choosing the wrong people, right? Maybe you're talking to the wrong decision maker. Maybe you're talking to the wrong facility, right? So you need to be able to look at that. Then you start saying, why are they not paying attention to my demonstration aspect? Well, maybe your demonstration is really not good and you need to work on that, right? So as we go through further in a lot of the trainings that we do here at Home Health Success Academy, we actually will tell you guys and show you guys how to actually deliver a better presentation. We're actually going to show you guys that what you should add into your company that's going to make you guys stand out from the other agencies that you're competing against. Because you should never compete. You should always elevate yourself among the rest, because competition is where everybody, all the regular folks, hand out. That's where they stand out. That's where they hang out. What you need to do is you need to elevate yourself. And so you need to create the sales process, but then at the same time, it's adjust as it goes. You can never do this ad hoc and ad will, thinking that I'm just gonna wing this whole thing when I walk in. I'm just gonna start explaining. No, you must be able to have a sales process. If you don't have a sales process, you are not gonna be able to measure your success, right? Do you expect your nurses to just go in when they have an admission and just do whatever they want to? No, there is a certain things, there are certain questions that they need to ask the patient. There are certain assessment things that they need to do. If you have a home care company, do you expect the caregivers just to walk in and do whatever they want? No, you want them to greet the patient. You want them to make sure that everything is safe in the environment. You want to make sure that the patient or the client is taking their medications. You want to make sure that the patient is happy, that the family is happy. There's so many different things that you already have process made, but for some reason, a lot of agency, home care, home health, hospice, even assisted living companies don't even have a process created for their sales, for their company. And what you need to understand is sales is 100% of your revenue, right? You can have a good product, a good service. You can have a quality home health aides, quality nurses, quality therapists. How can you show what kind of quality you have if you cannot get referrals or patients in? So once again, create the sales process. I hope this is the basics that I give you. You must have one. And if you don't have one, create one. That's what this is for. If you're seeing this, if you as a marketer, as an account executive that got hired, and then all of a sudden you jump in and there is no sales process, you ask your company, then that's something that you need to think about. And if they can't provide it for you, don't start using that as a reason why you're not successful. You've seen this video now, so if they never provided that for you, create one for yourself, right? It's not having the resources, but being resourceful that makes you successful. If you're the marketer that's coming in, or then if you're a company and you're hiring marketers, you need to create a sales process so that you can then make sure that whatever or whoever starts working for your company follows those as well. So what we're going to do, we're going to continue on for more videos. Keep watching this particular video series to be able to know the basics on how to be able to sell your company.